In this video, I'm going to go over my favorite level 1 weapon builds, as well as the gear I prefer running at level 1. Since I know not everybody has the time to hunt for barter items, everything I'm going to show you is going to be purchasable from traders. If you don't care to watch the whole thing, I've included some timestamps both on screen and in the description below, so you can skip to whatever part of the video you want to see. Let's start by going over what gear is available at level 1. With helmets, for me, it mostly comes down to preference on what headphones I want to wear, so I'll go ahead and pair them together. The most common helmet you're going to see is going to be the SSH-68, also known as the Dick helmet, that can be purchased from Ragman level 1 for around 22,000 rubles, along with a pair of GSSHs from Prapor for around 13,000 rubles. These together will run you about 36,000 for both the helmet and headphones. The other option you have access to would be the M32s from Skier, as well as the 6B47 from Prapor. These will usually run you quite a bit more, but for the added protection to the ears, and a significantly lower ergonomics penalty, as well as the option for better sound quality for the M32s, they are definitely my go-to combo. In total, this combo will run you about 53,000 rubles. If you are running low on cash, I would recommend just running a pair of headphones with a balaclava from Ragman level 1, as your head can stick out quite a bit. As for armor and rigs, if you're lucky enough to catch Ragman off reset and you can snag a 6B516 armored rig for around 55,000 rubles, this is one of the best armors you have access to at level 1, and these tend to go very, very quick. If you aren't lucky enough to snag one, I would recommend running a Paco with a bank robber chest rig. Together, these will run you about 40,000. Finally, for backpacks, I really only recommend two options here, and it really depends on your ruble count. For around 12,500 rubles, you have access to the MBSS from Ragman at level 1, as well as the larger and my go-to option, the Berkut, for around 23,000 rubles. I personally prefer the Berkut, as it has enough space to fit most guns, especially having the ability to fit the MP133s that are required for Prapor's task debut. All in all, you can expect to spend anywhere from 55,000 rubles with the bare minimum, to about 131,000 rubles if you're wanting to run the best gear that you have access to. As for guns, you don't really have access to many attachments or ammos and really only have a few viable options, such as 7.62 39PS and M855. While there is a case to be made for 9x19 and other small rounds, with a lack of modular firearms as well as an inability to pen tier 3 armor, no submachine guns are going to be included in this list, as I just think they're better options. At level 1 Prapor, you will get access to the SKS, as well as the OP-SKS from Jaeger level 1. Both of these guns are solid choices in the early game, even into mid-wipe, as when paired with PS rounds, these things can drop most players with ease, as well as being extremely cheap to run. Since the regular SKS doesn't really have a lot of mod ability, it usually is the more budget-friendly of the two, with the gun only running 22,000 rubles from Prapor level 1. This is for sure a contender for one of the best early game weapons. If the SKS iron sights aren't really your thing, after unlocking Jaeger you can get access to the OP-SKS, which is just an SKS with a dovetail mount allowing for the ability to add optics. I usually pair this with the PSO-1 scope from Prapor level 1. If a longer range scope isn't really your thing, you could actually just use the EKP Cobra dovetail sight from Prapor level 1 instead. At Skier level 1, you have access to the ADAR, the semi-auto version of an M4. The ADAR as well as the M4 platform specialize in the mod ability. That being said, the ADAR is a little difficult to mod at level 1 since there's a lack of buyable handguards, as well as a lack of pistol grips and stock alternatives. I usually don't buy these because they are a little bit expensive. Instead, I will loot them off of AI scavs and purchase the lower from Skier level 1 for around 7,000 rubles, as it just becomes way more cost effective that way. I would recommend pairing this with the Cobra sight from Jaeger level 1. If you were wanting more range, you could definitely pair this with the UTG 25mm mount as well as the P-Lod scope, both from level 1 Jaeger. If you don't have Jaeger unlocked yet, you could pair this with the MRS reflex sight from Skier level 1. As for ammo, I recommend running this with M855 from Peacekeeper, along with running the 30 round Stand-Nag mags. Finally, we come to one of my favorite platforms to mod in this game, that being the AK platform. Unlike most guns, the AK platform excels at level 1 traders, having the most option as far as modability goes. This goes for all AKs, excluding the AKS 74U series. At level 1 Skier, you have access to the VPO 136 for about 32,000 rubles. This is a semi-auto AK paired with the PS. It's absolutely one of the best options you have at level 1. I recommend removing the iron sights and purchasing a Bastion dust cover from Skier level 1, and a Cobra sight from Jaeger level 1. Again, if you don't have Jaeger unlocked yet, I would recommend running the MRS reflex sight from Skier level 1. Next, I like to replace the handguard with the AK-100 series polymer handguard from Prapor level 1, and pairing it with the RK6 from Skier level 1. I highly recommend running this build with a flashlight by purchasing the Kiba Arms 25mm ring mount and the Ultrafire WF501B flashlight, both from Skier. This build also works with the VPO 209, which was a personal favorite of mine last wipe. Pairing perfectly with 366 EKO rounds from Jaeger level 1, I personally prefer the VPO 209 over the 136, as I prefer the increased damage of 366 while still being able to penetrate tier 3 armor. I think it's also a plus that it has a 25% chance of causing a heavy bleed, which is pretty devastating early on in the wipe. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like guides like this, I would recommend subscribing, as I plan on doing more guides like this in the future. I'm going to be streaming this wipe almost every single day, so go ahead and check the description for my Twitch link below, and best of luck to you in your raids.